Well, I'm glad you all liked it. I asked you guys if you wanted to see a video about my thoughts on the first 10 episodes of Big Hero 6 The Series Season 2, and a lot of you voted yes, so here it is. Now, of course, keep in mind, I will be doing a full-on video on Season 2 when it finally ends, but as of right now, nobody knows when that's going to be. And seeing how my video on the first season did so well, I got to get them views. Now, I'm going to keep this video relatively short, as since this is only the first 10 episodes of the season, my opinion on the season overall can change quite dramatically. But I'm not getting my hopes up, though. I know that more episodes are arriving in September, but even then, it's not the rest of the season, it's only to wrap up the Monsters arc, and I'm also well aware that a third season has been greenlit because of the toy sales. I mean, the show's success.
That's terrible!
Look, let's just cut the shit here and say it. The only thing this show really has going for it are those really weird chibi shorts that look like an episode of Teen Titans Go with even worse animation, if that's even possible. I know these shorts are quite popular and all on YouTube, but, I mean, have you even seen these shorts? They can get really weird sometimes.
Sometimes it's hard being the tallest person I know.
My brain hates my eyes for seeing this.
I get they're more cartoony and comical and stuff like that, but still, I couldn't believe what I was looking at there. As for the show itself, I know that people are watching it, but nobody is celebrating or phrasing this show the same way other shows on Disney are being right now. Nobody is talking about Big Hero 6 the series the same way they talk about Star vs. the Forces of Evil, or Gravity Falls, or hell, even like the new shows like Amphibia or Owl House, both of which have been getting endless praise and love recently, especially Amphibia. I'm well aware people do like this show, and if you do, then okay. I don't really care. You can like whatever you want, but in the same vein, I'm allowed to hate whatever I want. And just gonna be frank here, I really hate the show. I think this comment from my Big Hero 6 movie review actually sums up the fans of this series perfectly. Big Hero 6 is one of those movies that seems to be above criticism to most people, which I always hate. Even if you love something, you should acknowledge that it's not perfect and that there is potential for improvement. The fans of Big Hero 6 can get pretty defensive sometimes. Not always, and I'm not saying all of them are crazy or anything, but still, it's pretty clear that not everyone agrees with me on my opinion of the series, and that's perfectly fine, but it still pisses me off when all these people can do is just resort to threats, name-calling, or even simply put, saying it's for kids. Yes, I got one of those comments. It's for kids, so who the fuck cares? Jesus Christ, I hate that argument. It's not even an argument, really. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that have to do with anything? The fact that it's for kids. There's plenty of great kids shows out there that give a shit, so you know what, forget it. I'm not even going to try and argue with this guy. Again, not all Big Hero 6 fans are like this. I got some genuinely cool comments from people who liked the show but weren't dicks. Doomerang 3, for example, had this to say. Semi-decent review, harsh but fair, you've made some pretty good solid points, I'll admit, but I still like this season and show regardless, and I'm aware it does have flaws. See? Is that so hard to admit? It's perfectly fine if you disagree with me, just don't be an ass about it. I even got into a bit of a debate, so to speak, with a commenter about my thoughts on Hero's characterization in the show, and now she disagreed with me. I'm not going to go into the conversation, you can find it yourself and read it if you want, but it was still a pretty civil debate. Using the word debate feels wrong, but fuck it, I'm going to use it anyway, and the person was super cool throughout. So again, not all Big Hero 6 fans are crazy, not that I ever said that, and it's perfectly fine if you disagree with me on this show, or any movie I talk about really. So with all of that out of the way, I just don't think the show's ever going to get good. I mean, sure, there's been a few improvements to the season, but there's also been some serious blunders made along the way. So, like I said, I'll keep this brief, but yeah, expect me to get mad. So I guess the best place to start is the animation and how it's better? Is that the right word for it? I mean, do I use the word better if the animation still isn't good? I mean, sure, it's not awful to look at anymore, but that's not really saying a lot. It's not as choppy as it used to be, and at least the animation throughout Season 2 so far has been consistently meh. It doesn't go back and forth from being decent to sheer crap anymore like in Season 1. So I guess that's an improvement, but with that being said, yeah, the animation's still pretty bad. It's still really stiff looking, the action sequences aren't that visually engaging still, and plus the backgrounds aren't really interesting this time around. You've pretty much seen everything this show has to offer animation-wise in the first season, and it's pretty clear that we won't be seeing anything that new in this season. That was so freaking smooth and good looking, and seeing how that was on the same channel as this? Come on, you guys have to admit something is off here. The characters still suck. In fact, some of them have actually gotten worse. Honey Lemon, who was one of the few decent ones, is now super annoying and I hate her. I guess the writers thought that giving her weird quirks would give her more character, but it doesn't. It actually makes her feel more one note because that's all she's really known for now. Chemicals, quirkiness, and being a girly girl. That's it! Nothing else. Once again, this show isn't interested in expanding these characters, it's only interested in making a lot of jokes and being a 22-minute distraction for your kids, which, looking at all the other shows on Disney right now, is a huge insult to kids everywhere. Go-Go is still a bitch, Wasabi is still useless, and Fred is still annoying. Hero isn't really that stupid anymore, but he still isn't that interesting. There's a really big missed opportunity where Hero actually goes to a high school dance with this girl named Megan, and you'd figure, oh cool, now we can actually see Hero interact with people his own age. For somebody who never really got to do much of that at all, this should be super fascinating, right? But almost immediately once the dance starts, we jump right back into the superhero stuff. Hero doesn't interact with people his own age outside of Megan, he doesn't develop, he's pretty much just a walking plot device at this point, meant to get the episode from point A to point B. Professor Granville, who was also pretty good in the last season, is completely wasted in this season and is now barely in the series at all. She's focused on in only one episode, and for the rest of the season, she's only a running gag now. Again, it's not about developing characters, it's about making your 3-year-old laugh.
The destruction. The devastation. I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry.
You might want to put on a happier wax cylinder next time. Ooh, maybe one with reggae?
If this season gives me anything that's good, anything at all, it's that there's less Carmi. Yes, this season isn't over yet, and yes, this show still treats this woman like she's the fucking messiah, but she's not as prominent this time around. I guess that might be the one criticism the writers actually listened to, because from the comment section of my first video, pretty much everybody agreed that Carmi was walking cancer and needed to be toned down. Now personally, I would have wrote her off entirely, but that's just me. Liv Amar as the villain in this season is actually kind of bullshit. I mean, I'll go more into this in the main video down the road, whenever it comes out, but I'll try to get my point across without taking too long. Liv Amar is like the Big Hero 6 version of Lex Luthor. She runs a company called Sycorax, and it becomes blatantly obvious from the start that she's the one behind all the monster attacks. Now, first of all, I really wish for a show that spends a lot of its time having its main characters trying really hard to deduce who the villain is, would actually have the villain be revealed at the same time to the audience as when the heroes discover who it really is, instead of just outright revealing it to the audience pretty much at the beginning. Secondly, is everyone in San Francisco a straight up dumbass? Because there is no way in hell that only Big Hero 6 would catch on to her obvious lies. Get this, everybody. In this season, nobody knows what Liv Amara does or what her company makes, and yet at the same time, everyone is perfectly fine with that.
I mean, what's the product that you make?
Oh, who really wants to hear about the minutiae of reprogramming Cyrna and its effects on recombinant DNA? But fantastic question. Who's next?
And when Hero, later down the line, tries to ask Liv these kinds of questions, he actually gets made fun of by pretty much everyone.
Looks like we have a question from that little boy.
It's a transdermal patch.
Ooh, transdermal. Big word from a tiny, tiny child. He's small.
I just haven't hit my growth spurt yet.
Looks like somebody's tired.
Dude, he's trying to ask a question. Shut the fuck up and let him ask. Oh, I know why no one's asking any questions, because if literally anyone else did, then Liv Amara would be exposed way sooner than needed to be for the plot. Look, I'm sorry, but I can't suspend my disbelief for this. You really expect me to believe that no one else in this day and age in San Francisco would catch on to Liv Amara's obvious lies, her lack of any distinguishing information?
99% of Liv Amara's answers contain the words investing, Sycorax, and future.
Ms. Amara, you never talk about what you guys actually do.
Sycorax invests in the future.
No, I heard that. I mean, what's the product that you make?
Oh, who really wants to hear about the minutiae of reprogramming Cyrna and its effects on recombinant DNA? But fantastic question.
And the consequential appearance of Sycorax and the monster attacks? In this modern day and age, with things like Twitter and social media and stuff like that. You really think so? This just makes the whole city of San Francisco look fucking stupid, and honestly kind of mean-spirited. They dance along with villains, they believe whatever bullshit is put in front of them.
Captain Cutie must be so handsome. Carmi is so lucky.
And sometimes they even taunt and laugh at Big Hero 6, the people who protect them!
Breaking news now. Tiny bot crime wave targets San Francisco. The Techno-Terror's latest victim, Joe's Diner, beloved home of the Joe Dog.
There was a second bot.
Even Big Hero 6 weren't big enough heroes.
Why do they even defend this fucking city? I wouldn't. This place looks fucking horrible. Again, I'll go more into this later in my main video, but yeah, as you can see, it's pretty stupid and confusing. There's also some really confusing morals that this show runs by. Like, take this for example. In this season, Globby, who was one of the main villains in the first season, has reformed and is now one of the good guys. Now, being a huge Dragon Ball fan who has gotten used to seeing this sort of thing constantly, this isn't a problem for me. Then you have this kid named Richardson Mole who, despite being only 11 years old, comes up with this pretty crazy scheme to break into Fred's house in order to steal some fancy underwear. Now, later in the same episode, Fred breaks into Mole's comic book store, yeah, the kid owns a comic book store, just accept that, to get them back, but then sees that Mole is a lonely kid who doesn't really have any of his own friends, so lets him keep the underwear. He does this because of some half-assed message from his father, Stan Lee, rest in peace, you beautiful angel, and again, I'm fine with that. Then you have this guy from Season 1 named Mel. I didn't talk about this in my first video because, well, it really wasn't a problem in my first video. But after seeing how the show and the characters treat their sympathetic villains, then this really irked me a bit. So Mel appears in episode 8 of Season 1, and it's revealed in the beginning that he created something called the Buddy Bot, a machine that follows people around and protects them from any potential threats. The problem is that Mel originally designed the bot for birthday parties, and Aleister Crey took his invention and turned it into something it's not for profit. Later in the episode, Mel ties up Aleister Crey, breaks into Craytech in order to steal his invention back, but with that being said though, he really didn't hurt Crey and didn't really mean to hurt anyone, but despite being taken advantage of a Crey and despite being a sympathetic villain, he goes to jail. Yep. Now, again, this kinda irks me a bit. So Globby, a very powerful supervillain who has robbed banks, museums, and has tried multiple times to pretty much kill Big Hero 6, is not punished for his crimes. You have a Richardson Mole, who is honestly a genuine creep who can't take no for an answer, steals some very expensive underwear, and is not punished for what he did. But Mel, who was genuinely taken advantage of, and borderline had his machine stolen by Crey, and only wanted his property back without hurting anyone, does get punished? That is kind of fucked up. And it really doesn't help that for some reason, because this guy made the Buddy Bot for children's birthday parties and is really passionate about his work, everyone in the episode kind of treats him like he's a pedophile or something.
You know, there's nothing like a surprise party. The bond shared by a group of people hiding and waiting together in the dark.
I guess.
Wouldn't it be great if there was something that would make you invisible so you could have the ultimate surprise party?
Are you feeling okay?
Yes, sorry. I just get really excited about things sometimes.
Like surprise parties.
I mean, sure, he's a little weird, but he's mostly just really passionate about entertaining kids. There's nothing wrong with that. And yet, in this episode, everyone just writes off Mel like he's a fucking creep or something. And is it just me, or does this guy look a little bit like Jared Fogle to you? Sure, they don't use words like pedophile, obviously, but the way everyone treats him in this episode is a little concerning to say the least. So, what are you trying to say to me, Big Hero 6? Are people who are passionate about entertaining children all just straight up creeps or pedophiles? Is Don Bluth a pedophile? Is Jim Henson a pedophile? Is Walt Disney a pedophile? I mean, sure, he's a Nazi and all, but come on, that's just insulting. You people do realize you're all working for a kid's show, right? and it's perfectly fine to enjoy what you do for kids? Maybe that's why this show is such shit, because everybody who works on it thinks that if people actually think they're good at what they do, then they must be pedophiles. Ew. Now, a lot of that might just be me speculating, or even exaggerating, but still, it just feels really weird how these characters just pick and choose who's free to go and who goes to jail in a superhero show. But now let's talk about this one thing that definitely pissed me off. This. You couldn't help yourself, could you, buddy? You just had to post something like that on Twitter, didn't you? Didn't you? You never learn, do you, Disney? Gays are always just gonna be a fucking commercial for you, aren't they? Forget about actual representation. Just let everybody know that we got a fucking faggot in our movie or TV show, and everybody will lose their fucking minds. But at the same time, we can't be that obvious with our gays. No! People just aren't ready for that yet. And they just couldn't possibly be ready for actual gay people in their kids' shows. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, wait! Look, I'm not attacking Bob here. I'm really not. I'm sure he's a good guy in real life, and maybe his heart really is in the right place here. But it just comes across as gimmicky at best. If you see my review on Beauty and the Beast 2017, then you know my feelings on this sort of thing. I just see this kind of crap as pandering and insulting. I'm obviously not against gay people in any way, but in my opinion, gay people should just be treated like normal fucking people. Steven Universe treated gay people like real, normal people. The Loud House treated gay people like real, normal people. Even Disney's own Gravity Falls and Star vs. the Forces of Evil treated gays and bisexual people as real, normal fucking people. Chris from Big Hero 6 is just an outdated stereotype that we haven't really seen in a kid's show in a long time. He's actually worse than LeFou from Beauty and the Beast 2017. He has that gay lisp, he has all the gay mannerisms, and he basically flirts with Wasabi, the big muscular guy, every chance he gets.
May your blade be as true as your heart.
He's the prime example of a stereotypical faggot. And I'm not using the word faggot to offend anybody, it's just more blunt and it's just funnier to use, okay? Bob, I'm sure you're a nice guy in real life, but if you're gonna post something like this with an obvious message like that, then maybe don't use such a shit example of a gay person. Try using these two instead. Or how about this woman? Or how about these two? I actually love these two so much, they're so freaking cute! So those are my thoughts on Season 2 so far. Now, obviously I'm going to make another video down the line for the season, but pretty much, yeah, I actually really don't think there's any hope for this show at this point. It's just pretty clear to me that the writers for this show just don't care. They're more interested in making a bunch of jokes and trying to make you laugh than trying to make you feel invested. I don't care about these characters. I don't care about this animation. I don't care about this world. I don't care about this shit show. And it's all because these writers refuse to just sit down for 2 minutes and take things seriously. For once! And if all of this still isn't enough to convince you on how awful this show really is, then how about this? Now, this is pure speculation, and I have no proof that this actually happened. And I'm not saying that it did happen. But since my video on Season 1 came out, I heard through the grapevine that apparently one of the animators for the show took a piece of fan art and put it in the show. Now, at first I thought, okay, that's actually kind of cool. Paying respect to the fans like that by putting their work in the show for everyone to see, that's genuinely kind of a neat idea. But then later I found out that they didn't get permission. Someone on the team just went online to probably DeviantArt or something and just took someone's fan art and put it in the show without even asking them. Now, again, I can't prove this happened, but a lot of fans who saw the episode claim that the fan art was there. And if that is the case, and one of the animators did do this, then that has got to be one of the scummiest things that I have ever heard. That is wrong on so many levels. I may not be a fan of Big Hero 6, really, but taking someone's fan art without their permission and just throwing it in there as if you drew that, no matter what fandom it is from, is absolutely unacceptable. That is just so fucking low down. If I was in charge of an animated show and I heard that one of my animators was pulling a dick move like that, I would have them fired. Then I would publicly apologize to the artist and even offer them a job replacing said animator. And after all the gay crap Ben tried to pull on Twitter, it wouldn't surprise me if this did actually happen. Look, Disney is doing great right now in TV animation. Hell, TV animation in general is doing great right now. But for some reason, Disney is still holding on to Big Hero 6, the series, despite the fact that no one is giving it the same attention that all their other programs get. Again, I think this all comes down to toy sales and those weird as fuck chibi shorts on YouTube. They are literally the only things that are keeping the show alive right now. I know the show has an audience, and a very vocal audience sometimes, but still, it's pretty clear the show is not going to be considered one of the greats. Now, some people might say that's not a bad thing, and true, a show doesn't have to break ground or be remembered for all time to be considered as a good show, but it at least needs to be entertaining. Honestly, this show's biggest shortcoming is it has no heart. Nobody within the show can take anything seriously, and nobody working on the show can take anything seriously. This show is just a fucking mess. The only way that Disney can save this show now would be to give it the American Dragon treatment and give it to somebody else. Somebody that actually gives a shit. Somebody that can take this property and do something really cool with it. Expand the characters, take things seriously for a change, get better animation. You know, make this show not awful. Hey everybody, it's Razor. I just wanted to say thanks again for getting me to almost 1,400 subscribers. That number just absolutely blows my mind. You cannot believe how much that means to me. I'll admit this hasn't been my best year on YouTube, and if you've been following me throughout it, then you probably know why. But I just wanted to take this chance to say thank you guys all again so much for watching me and sticking with me throughout the years. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to read your comments and chat things up with you during live streams. It's absolutely awesome. It really is. So I just wanted to thank you guys again for all of this. It truly does mean the world to me. So thank you all again. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Stay awesome, everybody. Rock on.